Welcome to The Big Picture. I'm Phil Arno. On this Big Picture, we're going to explore a subject that I hope will be of interest to all of Western New York. Well, the first question is going to be, how has the NFTA changed in the last month now because of this whole thing?
I think like every other organization, we've had to move quickly in a fluid situation. So it's not so much as changing as adapting to what's going on in the environment. We have seen our ridership go down about 76%, which is what we expected, and our air travel about the same, which would be about 80%. So what we've done for the change aspect is really increased our cleaning throughout the authority and sanitation. So we have really stepped up those efforts, particularly with the high-touch areas. So that means, our janitorial staff has really worked 24/7 to get things clean and disinfected as properly as possible.
Now, on the buses, the ridership is free, and you have to go into the rear entrance and sit towards the back of the bus. Isn't that a little counterintuitive, because most people have to be in one area of the bus as opposed to spread out?
It sounds as if it is counterintuitive, but it's actually not. By entering and exiting in the rear, you're avoiding that physical closeness between the operator and the rider, which is extremely important. And for those who have special needs, they are still able to board. But the whole process in which the money is exchanged, the touching, you avoid that whole process. And we've seen other agencies throughout the country do this, and it's been very successful with helping with social distancing.
And as far as the disinfecting of the buses and the rapid transit, how often does that happen, and how logistically how is that handled?
It's handled better now because of the rapid decline in ridership. So we're able to get to those buses. We're able to get on the rail more because there's not that many people. So when you consider we don't have schools, we don't have events going on downtown, we only have essential workers, we're able to get into those areas much better than we would have in a normal day. So as far as when we're doing it, it's constant, as much as we can. Certainly, every day we're cleaning, we're disinfecting in between runs. So we're really doing it continuously.
The volume of buses and the rapid transit, has that changed at all?
It has not changed. We probably will most likely adjust the schedule because of the decrease in ridership. But so far we are on full schedules on the bus and the rail.
About at the airport now, how much has the airline traffic declined, and what does that do for security lines and various other, what the experience at the airport, how has it changed?
So right now we are 80% reduction. We're seeing an 80% reduction, which is dramatic.
All airlines?
Yes, overall 80%. So from a TSA perspective, you asked about security, they're only in one lane. But there again, we're taking advantage of the fact that there aren't a lot of people traveling to do a lot of disinfecting, to do a lot of cleaning, and making that travel experience as best possible for those who are traveling. But it's very unusual. It doesn't seem, it's very airy at the airport, definitely not the bustling, high energy place that we always come to know and love, and even around the whole authorities. Definitely we're feeling it. It's very different.
And recently there was one of the officers tested positive. Do we have any idea how he was exposed?
We do not. We do know that this particular officer had very limited public contact. So this person is recovering well, but that this person did not have close contact with a number of individuals. This person did the right thing, took himself out of work for a while, and is recovering.
And do we have any procedure for testing employees of the NFTA, or is it just basically anybody with symptoms that get tested?
We are working with the both the state health agency and also the Erie County Health Department, both the state health department and the Erie County Health Department. What we are not testing here. That's not our expertise. We're following the guidelines of both local and state, which is to, when you do have symptoms, we are advising our employees to contact their physicians and go through those methods.
So anybody who normally uses the NFTA for transportation and has been kind of temporarily sheltering down, and they want to get out again, is there any difference between what they were used to and what they're going to go through now in terms of the experience of traveling on the buses or on the rapid transit? Are they going to experience something different other than what we've just talked about with getting in the rear doors of the buses and so on?
There won't be a difference, but what we are really advising and really hoping that people will abide by, we are really asking for essential travel only right now during this current environment. Just essential traveling. If you want to try the buses and rail, this is just not the time to do it. And that's really for those people, those essential workers. We want to get them to their jobs safely. And it's great that we don't have a lot of people, but we just don't want to see people kind of sampling the system because it is free at this point. We're really just focusing on those essential travels.
And are there like signs or anything to direct people to keep distances when they actually get on the vehicles?
Yes, there's quite a bit of signage on the bus. Those who are traveling right now, these essential travelers, they are experienced public transportation riders, so they know it's just sort of a natural inclination to have social distancing, especially at this time. So we're not seeing that as a huge problem, but we do have signage to encourage that.
What about the employees? How have they been going through any special instructions or training in wake of all this? Given any special equipment to keep them safe? How has that changed?
We have, most of our employees are, who are working from home. So we have very limited staff going into work. Obviously, you can't work from home if you're a bus driver or a mechanic, but our administrative staff is working from home. So we did have to make arrangements rather quickly. So we had to, beef up our technology, just make sure people were able to work from home. Those who could work from home, we tried to get as many as possible to have that flexibility. So that was a change. We have distributed hand sanitizer. You can see gloves around throughout the authority, as well as hand sanitizer, and we do have some gloves. So those types of protection, we've been able to provide that for our employees.
And how about here at the bus terminal? How have things changed here? Because it's not just the NFTA. There are Greyhound buses and other buses that come in and out of here. What's going on here?
Well, it's the same. With Greyhound, decline in, you don't see as many people. I don't know those numbers because, I'm not a Greyhound, but I see when I come in every day, far less people. And you'll see that, the Tim Hortons is closed downstairs. So those are the changes that we have seen. Our Grab and Go is still open, but for the most part, it's really, a skeleton crew and really not as many travelers as we normally see to a really high level.
Okay, so in effect, then all the routes are the same. You haven't reduced any volume of services at this point. You may adjust it in the future, but if anybody needs to travel for essential, services, go to the doctor, go to a job that's essential, you're still there for them, and things are fairly normal in that respect.
Absolutely. They are still, of the riders will see any, change. They will see probably a much a bus and rail with hardly any people on it, which is definitely different than we see normally. So that's probably the biggest change, will be the lack of people.
The airport facility, there's a lot lower volume. The airlines have cut back substantially. So in terms of the services, the restaurants, the gift shops, the parking, all the other things that are associated with the airport, is it much different now? Is everything closed down?
It is. It is different. We had the club closed down, which is our, business restaurant, and there's limited restaurant service. But most of the restaurants, the gift shops are on either they're closed or on very limited times that they are open, and that just makes sense. The less people there, the better, and it just probably makes financial sense for them as well at this point. But hopefully everything will be back to normal in the very near future.
No difference with parking or car rentals or anything like that. Those services are pretty much status quo.
They are, but we advise all of our travelers just to double check. There may be some limit in times and changes in operation hours. So it's always good if you are traveling, doing some essential traveling, to check with your airline, check with your rent-a-car agency. Always a good practice anyway, but particularly now.
And if you're traveling and you have a hand sanitizer or something like that, you're still restricted to the same volume limitations as any liquids and so on, right?
Correct. But when we've been talking to our air travelers, they say that they've had several rows to themselves. So it's been the best experience that they can have under the circumstances. But we're seeing planes with very, very few travelers. So that has been very helpful as far as safety and security of our travelers.
Okay. Well, for anybody out there now who is thinking about using the public transit system, or normally uses it but hasn't, is there any advice or anything that you can say to them that would kind of set the tone for at least the immediate future as to what we're going through right now?
I would say for the essential traveler, we are there. We are, even if we do adjust traveling, we're going to be out as rigorously as possible with our schedules, and we do ask that people who are not traveling for essential purposes to stay home. If you are ill, we're just echoing what our health partners have been telling us. If you're sick, stay home. If you are an essential worker, we are here for you. And things are going to change. We can't wait till they do change. But in the meantime, just essential travel only. We can't emphasize that enough, because that helps everybody.